Hello, scholars. My name is Joseph Ejike Oj. In our lecture tonight, our main focus will be on a concept that is very important in finance and economics. That concept is called the purchasing power parity. So here is the way I defined it in this lecture. The purchasing power parity. Sometimes we write PPP as an acronym to that. So the purchasing power parity simply means an economic theory that estimates the amount of adjustments needed on an exchange rate. Well, let me put it this way. An economic theory that estimates the amount of adjustments needed on the exchange rate between countries in order for the exchange rate to be equivalent to each country's purchasing power. Now, what does this mean? It means that the purchasing power parity is used to determine how much more or less expensive it can be to live in another country. So we say that two countries are considered to have the same or have equal purchasing power parity if the cost of a basket of goods in both countries is the same in the two countries when we make the necessary adjustments for the exchange rate. So in other words, what purchasing power parity is saying is this. It is saying that the exchange rates adjust so that identical goods in the two different countries, let's say Britain and France, had the same price when expressed in the same currency. That is basically what it is saying. So now, when we're doing work that involve purchasing power parity, especially with respect to the exchange rate, what we always most often do is to calculate the forward rate, which means the future exchange rate. To do that, we use this formula here, FR1, which represents the forward rate or the future rate. And that means the exchange rate next year. Okay, for example, equals SRO times 1 plus inflation rate in the home country divided by 1 plus inflation rate in the foreign country. Now, SRO is the spot rate, which is the current exchange rate. Yeah. So usually, like I said, we usually want to estimate what the forward rate would be, which means what the future exchange rate would be when we do work that involve purchasing power parity. The other things that we part of the formula like INF and R subcase HC and this one here are explained as follows. I hope you can see my screen. HC means home country and FC means foreign countries. So INF RHC means expected inflation rates in the home country, and INF RFC presents the expected inflation rate in the foreign country. Now, I usually tell my students some formulas we use in finance or even statistics, they might look like monsters, but actually when you start using them, you discover that they are actually easy to use. So let's look at one question. It says, again, let me make sure you are seeing this. Okay, you're seeing it. Yeah, good. It says, assume the US, which is the home country, for me is a home country. So assume that the US inflation rate is expected to be 6% the next year. That means 2023. And the French, which is now the foreign country for me, inflation rate is expected to be 3%. Now, if the spot rate for euro, because euro is the currency that France use, is $1.31, what is the expected exchange rate 1 year from now based on purchasing power parity? In other words, it's asking you to calculate the forward rate 1 year from now. So the first thing I do is to list the formulas. To list the parts of the formula, numbers that will be included in the formulas. I like to write them down when I'm doing calculations. So I have the spot rate is $1.31. You can see it from here. The spot rate for euro now. So inflation rate in the home country, it said it was 6%. And then inflation rate in France, which is the foreign country, is 3%. So we plug them in this formula here. FR1, so SRO, which is the spot rate times 1 plus inflation rate in the home country, divided by 1 plus inflation rate in the foreign country. So let me put them in Excel. I like to use Excel so I can easily manipulate, make changes. Okay. So again, you can see this. Let's put our data in. So the spot rate is $1.31. Okay. And I'll make it $1. Then inflation rate in the home country is 6%, which is 0.06. Our inflation rate in the foreign country is 3%, which is 0.03. And 1 is part of the formula, so I'm going to put 1 here. So and let us calculate the forward rates. Equal. Remember, you put equal sign when you are using Excel to make the cell to be in a ready mode. You can see the formula here. Spot rate times 1 plus inflation rate in the home country divided by inflation rate in the foreign country. So I use parentheses to make sure that I'm following order of operation in maths. So I have spot rate is this. Spot exchange rate, click this times. In Excel, asterisk present times. So I'm going to use parentheses to click 1 plus the inflation rate in the home country, close the parenthesis, divided by another parenthesis, 1 plus inflation rate in the foreign country. And then once I put it in formula correctly, excuse me, then I press the enter key to give me the answer right away. So it's going to be $1.35. So this is the future forward rate in the future. So what does this mean? What I also did in the PowerPoint. I mean that based on relative expected inflation rates, we expect the euro to appreciate 1 year from now from $1.31 to $1.35 over the next year, which means that 1 euro can buy more dollars within the 1 year based on relative expected inflation rates that we are given. Now, the good thing about Excel is that you can, once you do one calculation, you can always recalculate. Suppose I said 2 years. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here. Okay. Suppose I say 2 years and that the inflation rate that time will be, let's say, in US will be 7%, and then in foreign country to be 5%. So all I have to do is to change it here. So 7%, and then change this to 5%. So as I'm doing it, it will be recalculating the answer. So once I click here, it will recalculate it. See, 1 euro can buy, in that case, you can buy $1.03. So you buy less. So that's one thing to Excel. Once you do one calculation, you can always copy the formula, and then you don't have to start all of it. Okay, so that is purchasing power parity. How to calculate, use it to estimate the forward rate for exchange rate when you are given the relative expected inflation in both the home country and the foreign country. Okay. Now, we now examine another concept that is related to this purchasing power parity. It's called interest rate parity. And here is how I wrote my explanation for this interest rate parity here. I wrote that interest rate parity states that a country, a country that with a relatively higher nominal interest rate, we have its currency depreciate relative to a country with relatively lower nominal interest rates. So you say that the country that have higher interest rates, we have its currency depreciate relative to another country that have lower nominal interest rate. So that country with lower nominal interest rate will buy, like their currency will buy more currency of the country that have a relatively higher nominal interest rate. That is what he's saying. The theory is saying. So, usually when the country raises the interest rate, the value of the currency, increases because investors would like to store their assets in a currency that is denominated in that country that will have a higher interest rate. But when two of the countries raise their interest rates, let's say the US raised the interest rate and Britain raised the interest rate, then in that case, the interest rate parity might take place. Might come to apply, will become applied or applicable, because both countries have raised their interest rate at the same time. So now, the country with a relatively higher nominal interest rate will have its currency appreciate relative to the other country with a relatively lower nominal interest rate. Now, the formula is similar to the formula we used to calculate, use for the purchasing power parity. And again, in this case, we are trying to estimate the future rate, that future exchange rate. So then basically the forward rate. So the formula is FR1, which is the forward rate in next year will be, forward exchange rate next year will be spot rates now times 1 plus interest rate in the home country divided by 1 plus interest rate in the foreign country. Okay, so these are explained here. FR1 is forward rate, SRO is spot rate, INTRHC is interest rate in the home country, INTRFC is interest rate in the foreign country. So let's see how this works. The question says, assume that the interest rate on a 1-year US government debt security is 11%. But the interest rate on a comparable 1-year Eurozone government, Eurozone government, those countries that belong to the European Monetary Union, we call them Eurozone. Countries like France, Germany, and so on and so forth. So I said here, I think that the interest rate on a 1-year US government debt security is 11%, while the interest rate on a comparable 1-year Eurozone government like Germany security is 6%. If the spot rate for euro is $1.31, what is the expected exchange rate 1 year from now based on interest rate parity? In other words, asking you to estimate the forward rate 1 year from now. Again, write the numbers out. I like to write them out. SRO, as you can see from here, is $1.31. Okay. Then interest rate in the home country, INTRHC, is 11%, which is 0.11. The interest rate in the foreign country, INTRFC, FC is 6%, which is 0.06. Now we can go to our Excel workbook to put these numbers in and do our calculations. See, interest rate parity. Okay. So spot rate is $1 at 1 cent. Interest rate in the home country, $0.06. No, sorry, home country 11%, my mistake. 11%, which is 0.11. Okay. All right. Next is the interest rate in the foreign country, which is 6%, 0.06. One is part of the formula. You can see the formula here for the interest rate parity. One is part of the formula, put one. So let's calculate the forward rate, forward exchange rate. That means put equal sign and then click on forward spot rate, which is this, times is the asterisk sign, parentheses. I'm going to put 1 plus the interest rate in the home country. Okay, 1 plus interest rate in the home country is 11%. Close parentheses, put the division divided by division in Excel is / parentheses 1 plus, click on 1 again, plus interest rate in the foreign country. Then close the parentheses. Now, when you press the enter key to give you the answer right away, $1.37, $1.37. What does this mean? At the forward rates, the future exchange rate, mean that we expect the euro to appreciate from $1.31 to $1.37 over the next year. So by next year, the euro will buy more dollars. 1 euro will buy more dollars. Okay. And the $1 will buy less euro. Okay. So that's basically what it is. Now, how does it affect business? Especially those companies that buy their input from, that are involved in international business. Before we look at that, let's look at one more thing before we go to that side. We're looking at currency exchange rate appreciation and depreciation. So we can estimate or change, calculate the rate of currency exchange rate. I mean, the rate they appreciate or the rate they depreciate. In other words, the change of a foreign currency relative to domestic currency or home currency can be, we can calculate it usually using percentages. And the formula we use in that case is percentage change for foreign currency change will be foreign currency new value and foreign currency old value divided by foreign currency old value. What does that mean? A few years ago, the US dollar, this is an example. A few years ago, the US dollar equivalent of euro was $1.31, which means that 1 euro can buy $1.31. Now, see, look, I want to show you something. Okay. I want to show you something here. If 1 euro, let's say that 1 euro can buy, okay, 1 euro buys $1.31. Okay. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Okay. Okay. Make sure you're seeing this. Okay, good. If 1 euro can buy $1.31, then how many euros can a dollar buy? Okay, $1. Okay, $1. Okay, can buy how many euros? Equals 1 divided by $1.31. So you're gonna get it's only 76 euros. See? 76 euros. Now, that means that if 1 euro can buy, for example, $1. Okay, this is what you can buy one. It's that the dollar appreciated, and when you can buy less, the $1.20. In that case, you can just copy this. When $1 can buy how many euros? Copy it. I mean, it can buy 83 euros. See? So when the euro can buy more of dollar can buy less of it. That's what I'm trying to explain. Now I'll take you back to that place. Okay. Now it says a few years ago, the US dollar equivalent of the euro was $1.31. Today, the US dollar equivalent of euro is $1.34. That means you can buy more. Dollar depreciated. Determine the percentage change of the euro between these two dates. So let's say the amount that was sold is in the future today is $1.34. But it was originally a year ago, it was $1.31. So let's go and put it and then calculate the change. Okay, so I'm gonna put it here. Future value, change it $1.41. I mean, okay, then the current value. Give me 1 minute. I wrote the wrong number. That's why I like to write it down. It's $1.31, but the current one $1.34. Okay, $1.34. 34 cents, but originally it was $1.31. Okay. All right. Look at that. So the euro change, percentage change. Now you plug it into this formula here. Put equal sign and then put parentheses. This here minus old value divided by old value. And when you press the enter key to give you the answer, now you can make it a percent. You can click, or you can just right click here and choose format cells. Make it 2 decimal place. I can make it percentages. You can choose the number of decimal place you want from here. If I want 3 decimal place, for example, I can make it 3. Okay. So that is the euro exchange, euro percentage change in the euro. Okay. I'll make it sit. So by 2.29%. Okay. So you appreciated by 2.9%. All right. So what that old value 2.29%. If you round it up, remember I say 2.29% because I went all the way to 3 decimal places. Otherwise, if you round it, you're gonna be 2.3%. I can round it to, make it 2 decimal places by clicking on this. See, 2.3%. Okay. Now, like I mentioned earlier, how does it affect business? Well, those businesses that are foreign sales, they have to be concerned with the stability of the government and changing values of the currency in the countries that they do business. I want to explain how it works in a brief way. So let's say that you have a business, and what you do is you produce plastics, and you buy a raw material from Europe. Let's say that today, what is the exchange rate in Europe? I'm going to use the real value exchange rate for dollar and the euro. So you can see from this spot rate, 1 euro can buy $1, almost approximately $1.04. So let me write it down. Let me write it down. So US dollar, and $1 can buy only 96 cents. 96 euro. I think euro is cents too. 96 cents equivalent of euros. Approximately. I mean, so I'm gonna use $1.04. So Europe can buy. Let me put this here. Euro US dollar is you can say call it $1.04. Okay, and then the dollar can buy how many euros? We have okay, we have, if you go to that table again, dollar can buy how many euros? Approximately 96 euros, 96 cents equivalent of euros. So 96 cents, 0.96. Okay. So that means assume that the amount you budgeted for raw materials. Okay. Each year or each every 6 months is, let's say, is $1 million. So how many euros can you get? Okay. Amount of, because you have to change your currency to euro to be able to pay for the raw materials. How many euros can you get? Amount of euro, you're gonna get amount of how many euros worth of plastic, raw plastic you can get, amount of or quantity of plastic you can buy of plastic raw materials. Okay, will be $1,000 when you change it to euros. Okay, you're gonna get 96, 0.96. Okay, 0.96 times, okay, 1 million. So that'll give you I'll take it to where you can get the calculations. Okay, 0.96 times 1 million. You get 960,000 euros. Okay, 960,000 euros worth of raw materials. 960,000 euros. Okay, I'll put this with euros. Okay, worth of plastic. Yeah, what of raw materials. Okay, that's what you can afford to buy, given that exchange rate. Okay, now suppose that 6 months from today, okay, now 6 months from today, suppose that the euro appreciated. You came to buy raw material, but unfortunately to you, when you came, the euro have appreciated, and what euro can now buy $1. Okay, 12 cents. See, I mean, it appreciated. And remember, your budget for plastic raw material is $1 million. In that case, if you appreciate it, that means a dollar can only buy how many euros? I'm going to take it to where a dollar can buy how many euros? It can be, you call it 1 divided by 1.12. 1.12. A dollar can buy only approximately 89 cents worth of euros. 0.89. Okay, 0.89. 0.89. Okay, 0.89. So that now, what value of the plastic? What value of raw material can you buy? To do that, you multiply by 0.89, and that will give you 890,000 instead of 960,000. You get 809,000 worth of raw material. See, you can see this is how it can affect those involved in international business. So it will depreciate to decrease the amount that you can buy, and that can affect your profit. It can eat away your profit. Because of that, companies try to find a way to avoid the devastating impact of these exchange rate fluctuations. What they do, what do they do? What do the companies do to avoid being a victim of this uh, exchange rate fluctuations in the international business? So what some big firms, what they have a special department that handle international transactions. So among their actions they do, they call it hedging. One of them, I think they do their international department or the department that handle international transactions. We engage in a kind of contract with the bank, foreign bank, so that they will get a favorable exchange rate, even though there have been a fluctuation in the exchange rate. So one of the things they do is it's called hedging. By hedging, what they do, hedging is a kind of a currency or currency price protection, in which the participants, which in this case the business, protects fully or in part, a given exposure to foreign exchange rates, adverse variation. In other words, when they do hedging, they're buying a kind of protection in which they will be given future exposure, or they'll be protected from future exposure to foreign exchange against variation in the rate and prices. So in that case, let me give you if a country and the company might say, okay, even if they say, I come back next time and the exchange rates have now went down to 112 cents, okay, but because they hedged their currency, they hedged against this fluctuation. It's okay, even though the money have appreciated, the bank will give them at this old rate. So, but to hedge it, they have to pay some kind of fee to buy that kind of protection, so that even though the euro have appreciated, they will still get it at the old rate because they have paid for the protection. It's just like you pay for it may be a middleman to protect you from adverse effect of trade, that kind of thing. Now, or let me play this. So you pay an insurance company, like you pay an insurance company premium, so that in case of accident, the insurance company will cover the cost, and you still be good. Now, that kind of thing is a kind of exchange rate protection, hedging, I mean. Now, they can even adjust account receivable and also their payable procedure. And then there can be some kind of cash management procedure that they might use to protect themselves. So all these things actually constitute separate topics that I'm going to discuss in the future. Now, existing or anticipated variation in the value of foreign currencies guide all these transactions. Now, for example, I give an example here. So for a business that will be paid in 90 days, if they anticipate a possible decline in the currency value of their the customer country, they can buy or buy a kind of hedging protection by entering into what they call a futures contract with the bank in that foreign country, or even the home country bank. The futures contract for the delivery of that currency at the existing exchange rate on the day of the contract, so that when they do this, a loss in the collection process is offset by a gain in the delivery process 90 days from that day that the contract was purchased. Usually they give 90 days because it is more, the variation might not be too much within that 3 months period. 8 months period can be difficult because a lot of things can happen in 8 months. 1 year, the same thing. So that is the end of our lecture tonight. I have covered the purchasing power parity and the interest rate parity. I also explained the meaning of forward exchange rates and future spot exchange rates. I mean, I use it as I use the two as an example, and in what we did tonight, and also the currency exchange rate appreciation and depreciation, how we calculate it. Now, thank you for listening, and I will see you in my next lecture. Good night to you.